Coach, before we open it for questions, if you would give us a statement about each player. First, Chris Abrams-Drain.
Chris Abrams-Drain is he's an elite cornerback, but also an elite young man. He's a guy that, to me, has done it the right way. When you talk about in today's age of college football, he's stuck it through, with the same program for 4 straight years. Not only that, he played mostly quarterback in high school, came as a wide receiver, and has really developed himself through hard work at the cornerback position.
J.C. Carlisle.
JC is, I get to personally coach him in my position group, and he's come a long way in a short period of time, not only on the field but off the field. Very, very quiet by nature, but on the field he's a different beast. So a lot of fun to coach. He's a physical specimen. Can't wait to see what he does next year in the NFL, but looking forward to what he can do Friday as well. Chuck
Hicks.
Chuck's He's the old man, which is crazy to say. I think he's in his 6th year, but he's about his business. He's a very serious guy. He's always focused on what he can do to make the team better, and he's the ultimate team guy. He's really, in my opinion, one of the glue guys on our defense.
Darius Robinson.
Darius, man, he's fun to coach. He has developed his game, very unselfish, 2-time team captain, played inside for us last year, moved him to the edge, and it's something that he wanted to be challenged with as well, and a guy that has done phenomenal, was first-team All-SEC. Looking forward to watching him on Friday. Big, physical, imposing guy.
And finally, Christian Williams.
Christian Williams, he came to us as a transfer last year. He is by far the nicest guy on the team. He's a guy before team meetings. He sits in his shoulder pads, and he'd wear his helmet if you'd let him. But he's fully dressed out 45 minutes before the team meeting, so he's a special dude.
All right, to our assembled media, we ask that you would raise your hand. We'll give the microphone to you. First question, Coach, to our right.
What's going on, Coach Gerard Hamilton, Power Mizzou. Obviously, your name this last month or so was attached to other jobs thrown out there, but you decided to sign a contract extension. What went all into that as far as, your decision to return?
A lot of it, honestly, has to do with my happiness and my family's happiness in Columbia. There were some possible other opportunities out there, but Coach Drink is a phenomenal guy to work for. He's first class in everything that he does. And really, I feel like we have unfinished business, still here at Mizzou. So all in all, I never really considered, going anywhere else. To me, it was, I kind of said the same thing last year when I signed the contract extension. It was a no-brainer, and really happy to be able to do that.
Coach, to our left, second row.
Hey, Coach. Joey Van Zummeren from Fam Nation. In the middle of the season, you talked to us about how you felt your defense was at its best when you were playing a ton of different players, utilizing your depth. What have you made of that depth through the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think the proof is in the pudding whenever you look at the amount of guys that we've played and we spread the reps out a little more evenly, we do play better. I do think also that our guys everybody wants to just it's like instant oatmeal. They just want to add water and stir it up, and here comes players. Some guys develop at different times, and I think we do a really good job repping guys throughout the year and being able to develop them, and now being able to put it on display in game situations is definitely a bonus for us.
Coach Frank Cusimano, KSDK. How do you prepare for a quarterback who's never started a college game and has 22 passes? Do you go back and look at high school tape, or do you just look at this is the Ohio State system, that's how they are going to run it?
Yeah, we mostly looked at what he's done this year, and I think it was like 76 snaps or something on the season. And then you kind of blend that with what they already do and maybe some things differently they may do based off of his skill set. But no, I didn't go back and check out his huddle highlight tape.
Stay on the left side, front row.
Coach Ken Capps from Football Writers of America. Mizzou was kind of a surprise team in the SEC this year. What do you attribute the Tigers' success to this year?
I think it's a lot of different things that go into success. I think it starts with Coach Drinkwitz and how he's created a culture. The second thing I would say is our leadership on the team. Again, with the day and age of bringing in different guys from a portal standpoint, or even early, or not early enrollees, but even freshmen, they all adapted to who we were as a culture. And and the third thing is I think we have really good players, and all of those things combined, to me, have determined our success.
Coach, right side, front row.
Coach, one more thing back to the extension. When deciding to return, obviously there's a lot of players that will be leaving, but how much of the conversations were about who you guys have that can step up next year, and some of the guys you're bringing in via the portal and via recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like conversations with yeah, I mean, I think we both both know what we have coming back, and both and that's ongoing way before contract extensions even put on the table. That's something that we talk about every single day is personnel, who we have leaving, who we're recruiting, what needs we're gonna have to fill in the portal. But honestly, it's a much different situation than last year, where we knew we had a ton of guys coming back. And to me, I relish with that opportunity, that challenge to see if we can continue to build on what we have going.
Left side, third row.
Kind of on that same topic, when you talked in the spring, you talked about how excited you were, having so many veteran guys coming back. Just how important was that, this season, having guys who, were used to playing with each other, that have a lot of experience, and, still having those guys here, in the postseason game when, a lot of programs have double-digit guys that aren't playing.
Yeah, I use the phrase, there's no substitution for experience, and when you have a lot of guys that have played a lot of college football, not only just in general, but with each other, it definitely helps from a chemistry standpoint. And again, it helps from a culture standpoint when you're bringing in multiple guys, new and old. They've adapted to what those guys had already built on. So it was instrumental to our success this year.
All right, coach, straight down the aisle all the way to the back.
Blake Baker, Kyle Helms with ABC 17. I know that from talking to you in the past, havoc rate is something that you really emphasize to your guys. Just how important has getting turnovers been to you guys this season, especially in the second half of the season when it feels like you really started to rack up those takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, I think getting the ball back to our offense. We have a very explosive offense, and at the end of the day, it's about who scores the most points, right? So you're taking a possession away from the opponent and then giving our offense a chance to put more points on the board. But it's also huge for momentum. I think college football, there's so much momentum swings throughout the game, and a lot of times that ends up determining the game is explosive plays and takeaways. So something that we pride ourselves on, something that, like you touched on, once we got into SEC play, I thought we really picked our game up.
Coach will stand up.